What's going on, everybody? Ronnie DiMaggio here, product specialist at BMW of Morristown, and on this cold, windy, rainy day in Morristown, we are bringing you a walk around and overview with this 2023 BMW X5 M50. So we already did a video on the X5 xDrive 40i and the X5M competition, which we'll link to right here if you want to check those videos out. So we're going to run through the gamut of the X5 lineup and finish that off with the X5 M50, which we have here. So this is a 23 model year, which doesn't make any difference really for the X5. There is one interior change that we'll talk about that has to do with the leather options, but other than that, the X5 is largely unchanged for 2023 from 2022. An LCI of the X5 is coming, whether that's going to be a 23.5 or a 24 model year thing, we're not yet sure, but it is on the way. But anyway, we are going to talk about the X5 M50 here in this video. We're going to talk about the exterior styling. We're going to talk about what's under the hood, the options, the interior as well. So let's get started with what is under the hood, which is a big talking point for the M50 version of the X5. Because the big difference between an xDrive 40 and an X5 M50 is that the M50 uses a V8 engine compared to the xDrive 40i's inline 6. So this is the N63 4.4 liter twin turbocharged V8 engine. It makes 523 horsepower, which is only not too many horsepower short of the X5M, which makes 600 horsepower, so 77 horsepower or so short of the X5M, which isn't a huge difference when you're talking about, 500-600 horsepower. You're not too shy of the X5M there, so really impressive power numbers out of the M50. Now, obviously, the big benefit of the X5M is the bodywork, the suspension. You do get the S63 as opposed to the N63, so you do have the M engine. Handling and whatnot is obviously significantly better in the X5M, but if you just want the power and you're not so concerned with the other M additions, then the X5 M50 might be the choice for you, because you do get most of the X5M's power. You're just missing all the other M goodness. But anyway, really good engine here in the X5 M50, super torquey, really wide, fat kind of power band, which is a good thing. So really impressive under the hood of the M50. Now, let's talk a little bit about styling. So you can see, first of all, that this one does have the 50th anniversary roundels, and there is something, you may have already noticed it, that's a little bit unique with this particular X5 M50. That is that it doesn't have the Shadowline package. So most X5 M50s, if you walk around our lot, we have a few right now actually, all of them, except for this one, have the Shadowline package. So not having the Shadowline package means that these grille surrounds, the actual slats themselves, and then these air breathers down on the lower portions of the bumper are trimmed in a bronzish sort of cerium gray type color, whereas with Shadowline, this will be black, these will be black, the mirror caps will be body color or black, and we'll see on the side of the car there are some air vents that'll be black, and Shadowline also gets you black tailpipes, whereas this car has chrome tailpipes. So lots of differences between Shadowline and non-Shadowline cars. This being a non-Shadowline car, you get to see what it looks like without those black accents. I personally, if I were speccing one of these, I wouldn't go for Shadowline because I kind of like the pseudo bright work that comes with the cerium gray accents as opposed to all gloss black, but to each their own. I think looks great either way. But let's come around to the side of the car. We can take a look at these standard wheels on the X5 M50. These are a 20-inch wheel wearing a 275 wide tire up front, and you can see that this particular one is optioned with the no-cost option red brake calipers. You can get blue if you would prefer. I think red looks really good here on this Black Sapphire Metallic car. This is another place where you're going to see the non-Shadowline coming into play. That is cerium gray. That'll be black on a Shadowline equipped car. Same with the mirror caps. We have that same bronzish color extending to the mirror caps as well. I think it looks really nice, adds a little bit of color pop on an otherwise dark colored car. So that is cool to see. I'm glad we found one in this spec to show you guys, because most of them that you'll see are equipped with the Shadowline package, which blacks all that stuff out. Other styling elements on the side of the car, pretty standard fare for the X5. Not a ton has changed from xDrive 40 to M50. The big jump is going from M50 to X5M, where you get pretty much an entirely different set of body panels and things like that, but still a great looking car. You do have a little bit of an extension down there on the side skirt that kind of juts out, gives it a sportier type of look. Really nice and prominent Hofmeister kink, which you guys know is one of my favorite elements of BMW styling. We have roof rails trimmed in gloss black as well, so all really good looking stuff. Rear wheel is a 20 as well. Again, a standard wheel option with the black or red brake caliper there. But if we want to take a look at the back of the car, we can see, for one, that the tailpipes are finished in a brighter, that same kind of bronzish gold color, whereas on a Shadowline car, that'll be black. If you actually want to pan over to the right there, we have a white X5M, and you can see that the tailpipes are finished in black on the car over to the right. So that's a Shadowline car. That's what you'd be more accustomed to seeing usually with the M50s, but as I said, non-Shadowline looks cool too. We also have that same kind of color on the badges, X5 and M50 over there. Those remain on even Shadowline cars, so you can't get those black or chrome on the M50. And then finishing things off, you do have a pretty nice looking but subtle little spoiler coming off of the top there. Just adds a little bit of dimension and depth to the rear end styling. But overall, the X5 is personally one of my favorite SAVs in the BMW lineup styling wise. Even just the entry-level xDrive 40 looks fantastic. The X5M is obviously a whole nother level, but really good looking car, and you have a lot of options as far as aesthetics when it comes to exterior styling. Like, you can get laser lights on the M50. This one doesn't have it, but you can get that as part of the executive package. We talked about Shadowline versus non-Shadowline, blue versus red calipers. So there's a lot of customization even without the individual program on the X5s, which is really cool to see. But that is going to do it for the exterior. Let's go ahead and pop the tailgate and hop in the rear seat to talk about some of the practicality elements. Being an SAV, most people are going to use this as an everyday, maybe family vehicle, so that stuff is important. But let's go over it now. All right, so cargo capacity in the X5 M50 will match the X5, xDrive 40, and X5M, but worth mentioning anyway. First of all, you do have a split folding rear tailgate, so you have the top and bottom section. This bottom section can support your full weight, which is nice for tailgating, picnics, things like that. And as you can see, the cargo capacity is really impressive, as you would expect in the X5. Being a full-size SAV, of course, it's going to have really good cargo space, and it does. So there's also some additional practical things back in the cargo area. So you have some hooks for grocery bags and things like that. You have your extendable cargo cover if you want to cover up what you have back there. You also have an additional storage compartment, which is really impressively large underneath the floor of the cargo area. So lots of practicality in the back and lots of space to store things. So you definitely won't be wanting for cargo space in the X5 unless you're regularly going on long trips with a lot of people, carrying a lot of things, moving a lot of things. Then you'll probably be fine with the X5. Most people are, so plenty of cargo space. If you need something bigger, you can always go up to the X7, but I think most people will be happy with the storage space in the X5. Let's take a look at the rear seats. So I'm gonna hop in here behind my own driving position, and as you can see, legroom is plentiful, headroom not a problem at all, plenty of room for my feet underneath the front seat there. So really nice and spacious in the back seat of the X5 here. It's also pretty well appointed, so I do have heated seats, dual zone climate control, as well as a fold down center armrest with cup holders. So plenty of room in the back of the X5 and plenty of practicality as well. So that is all great to see. As we said, most people use the X5 as an everyday car, a family vehicle, and so back seat space and trunk space is important. You obviously have tie downs for child seats and stuff in the back of the X5, which is awesome to see as well. But that's going to do it for the back seat and the cargo area. Let's hop up front and go over some of the things in the front of the passenger compartment. All right, so here we are inside of the 23 X5 M50. So first things first, let's talk about driver touch points, ergonomics, and things like that. Starting with the steering wheel, It is the standard M steering wheel for G chassis cars, which feels really nice. One of my favorites that BMW's done in a while. Nice and thick, really big 10 and 2 notches here, and it has some paddle shifters on the back for upshifts and downshifts if you want to control the transmission yourself. So steering wheel is great. You have your controls for your multifunction stuff, radio and phone controls over there, and then cruise control over on the left. Heated steering wheel down in the center. The seats are extremely comfortable, and they represent one of the few changes for the 2023 X5s. These seats are trimmed in Sensafin, and Sensafin is replacing BMW's Sensatec synthetic leather. So Sensafin feels much nicer. It feels a little bit richer. It feels a little bit more like real leather than Sensatec did. It is going to be more durable, so it's overall just a better synthetic leather option. And you can see that the seats are trimmed in Sensafin, and they have a different pattern on them, a more diamond stitch type pattern on the Sensafin trimmed seats as opposed to the Sensatec trimmed seats that you saw in the 22 models. But that's the seats, and the steering wheel armrests on either side are at the same height, which is great. Nice low belt line and high seating position for an SUV, so visibility is fantastic out of all directions. Another thing worth noting, this particular X5 is equipped with a climate comfort package, which means you have heated steering wheel, front and rear heated seats, and heated armrests. So it's about 48 degrees out in Morristown right now, and we're just coming out of the summer, so to us it feels absolutely freezing. So it's really nice to have the heated steering wheel, the heated armrests, and the heated seats is all really good stuff to have as part of the climate comfort package. As far as other equipment, this car does not have the executive package, which would get you laser lights, head-up display, glass controls, some other things like that, gesture control and whatnot. So you can option up to the executive package if you would like. This car doesn't have it, and it is a nice package to have, but not something that I would consider like a must order on an X5 M50. You also have the option of Bowers & Wilkins sound system. This particular car has Harman Kardon as standard, but Bowers & Wilkins is an option as well, which is a really nice thing to have. Sounds really good. Harman Kardon sounds great as well if you're not an audiophile and don't feel like you need to upgrade to Bowers & Wilkins. But those are a little rundown of the options that are available on the X5. Let's just talk about the interior that will be in every X5 regardless of options. So that includes iDrive 7 as well as a fully digital gauge cluster. This is the system that BMW has been using since 2019 or 2018 or so on the X5s, which looks and performs really nicely. iDrive 8 is probably going to be found in the LCI version of the X5, so if you don't want iDrive 8 for whatever reason, then you better go pick up a 23 model. Anyway, iDrive 7 works really well. Touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, enhanced Bluetooth capability, all the standard things you would expect out of a BMW infotainment system nowadays. Works really well, super quick and responsive, even on cold days like this. It responds to your touch perfectly. The center gauge cluster is slightly configurable. Over there on the right, you can change what is displayed. You have your map in the middle, and then your speedometer and tachometer on the left and the right, which does change with your drive modes, as do all iDrive 7 equipped BMW gauge clusters. Another thing you'll notice as far as options, this car is trimmed with carbon fiber, which is an option only on M50s. You can't get carbon fiber on the regular X5s. Can get it, of course, on the X5M, but looks really nice and adds like kind of a sportier touch to the interior that you might want with an M50 M performance car. As far as safety features, you do have blind spot monitoring, forward collision warning, and lane departure warning, all standard on the X5 M50. You can option up to the driver assistance professional package, which will give you lane keep assist as well as radar cruise control. Both nice things to have if you do a lot of highway driving, but not musts if you're not doing a ton of highway driving, or if you don't mind just keeping your hands on the wheel and controlling the car the old school way, that is by yourself without the aids of computers. But anyway, that's going to do it for the interior of the X5. We did the xDrive 40i and the X5M if you want to check out those interiors, but overall, really nice place to be, and like with the outside, really customizable with options. You can go a lot of different directions, color-wise, trim-wise, options-wise, so overall, great place to be, and that is going to do it for the inside, so let's hop outside and we'll wrap up with our final thoughts. All right, so that is going to do it for this walk around and overview of the 23 X5 M50. Hopefully that gave you guys a good idea of what it's like to check out an X5 M50 in person if you haven't had a chance to already. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you think we deserved it, and drop a comment down below. If you have any questions about the X5 M50 or any suggestions for future videos, we read all our comments. We're super active on social media, so you can DM us on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook at BMW of Morristown. Follow us on those platforms as well. But that is going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.